Hello everyone, welcome back to continuing the learning with module 2, that is the Indian philosophical traditions and the epistemology. In lesson 2.2, we had learnt the six different pramanas that there were. Let's quickly take a look at the six different pramanas. It was the pratyaksha or the perception. It was anumana, the inference, the upmana, that was the comparison. There was arthapati, the postulation. Then we had the anupladhi, that was non-apprehension. And then we had shabda, the verbal testimony. So we did see that with these six segments, that everything came together very coherently, and then everything was interconnected in a very logical and a very reasoning kind of a way, that the belief system that was there had its own value. We also did see that for us to carry on the knowledge, we need to have the value system and the logic that each school of learning brought about to us. So here in lesson 2.3 today, we are going to be talking about Nyaya epistemology. How is it relevant to the ethics? How we can inquire about it and how we can critically think about it. Nyaya epistemology, a cornerstone of Indian knowledge system, is renowned for its rigorous and systematic analysis of knowledge, its sources and its validity. So how authentic it is, from where did it come, and how far will it go? The Nyaya school is fundamentally realistic, asserting that knowledge accurately reveals objects as they are, how we look at them, independent of the mind. Its ultimate goal, like other Indian philosophies, is liberation from suffering. We said moksha, liberation, which is achieved through the acquisition of true knowledge, that is prama, and the elimination of false cognition, that is apramam. Nyaya epistemology is a foundational aspect of Indian philosophy, deeply concerned with the nature and acquisition of valid knowledge. We did see in the previous module that the stepwise allocation helped us or enabled us to formulate a good logic, a reasonable logic. The term Nyaya itself translates to rule, method, or justice, reflecting the school's emphasis on systematic and logical reasoning to arrive at the truth. When we want to learn something, we want to formulate it into a belief system for ourselves, these are the steps that we go through. Let's see what the goal of Nyaya epistemology is. The ultimate aim of Nyaya philosophy, and therefore its epistemology, is to achieve liberation or moksha from suffering, freedom from suffering. It's such a big thing to look about, such a larger picture. This liberation is believed to be attained through right knowledge, prama, which dispels ignorance and misconceptions about reality. Any fallacies that may revolve around the theory are shredded and given away here. Therefore, Nyaya meticulously examines the means by which valid knowledge can be acquired and distinguishes it from invalid knowledge. Knowledge which is logical, knowledge which is not logical, knowledge which is truthful, and knowledge which has any fallacy in it. The key characteristics in ancient Nyaya. Let's see. The ancient Nyaya school, as laid out in Nyaya Sutra and early commentaries, exhibited several defining characteristics. Now, let's see what are the characteristics that defined it. Focus on pramana, means looking for validity, valid knowledge system. The Nyaya Sutra being by listing the 16 categories or the padarthas of discussion with pramana, means of valid knowledge, being the first and most crucial, means it does look for logic everywhere. This immediately establishes epistemology as the central concern of the school. The four pramanas, pratyaksha, perception, anumana, inference, upmana, comparison, and shabda, the verbal testimony, were meticulously defined and analyzed. We have already seen in the previous lesson. Rigorous logical method. Rigorous means firm and thorough. Ancient Nyaya is particularly famous for its development of a sophisticated system of logic, especially the five-membered syllogism, Panchavyaya Nyaya. This was not merely an abstract logical exercise, but a practical tool for conducting philosophical debates, vadas, and establishing the truth. The emphasis was on clear, step by step reasoning that could withstand scrutiny. What is the realism about it? Nyaya is a strongly realist school of thought. It posits that knowledge accurately reflects an external reality that exists independently of the mind. So it is already there whether we believe it or not. Objects of knowledge are real and valid cognition reveals them as they are. Like in the previous lesson, we had talked about an elephant in the room. So an elephant will only be there, we'll only be able to see and realize when there is one. When there isn't any one, how can we know that there is an elephant in the room? This stands in contrast to some idealist schools that emerged later. Epistemology of liberation or of moksha, the freedom. Despite its strong emphasis on logic and reasoned inquiry, the ultimate goal of ancient Nyaya, like many other Indian philosophical schools, was spiritual liberation or moksha. It held that human suffering arises from false knowledge, mithya, and that liberation is achieved through the attainment of right knowledge, tattva, about the true nature of the self, the world, and reality. Everything that we have around us has to be tangible, has to have a tangible logic to it. It is only then can we formulate a belief. It is only then does it become real for us. This practical aim drove its epistemological investigations. Classification of knowledge. Nyaya went beyond just listing valid knowledge sources to categorize different types of perception. Example, determinative versus indeterminative, ordinary versus extraordinary, and inference. Example, purvavat, sesavat, and samanya drishta, demonstrating a deep analytical approach to cognition. So means if we have to have a belief system, all our determination, all our indetermination, all our ordinaries and our extraordinaries have to be compared, valued, and then mapped. Theistic tendencies or the latter development. While early Nyaya texts might not have explicitly detailed arguments for the existence of God, later Nyaya thinkers, particularly starting from the post-classical period, developed sophisticated arguments for the existence of Ishvara or God based on logical inference. Example, the argument from design. So it was kind of like a modern day debate and a rebuttal and then coming to an inference. In debate also, we propose something and then we stand by it and we look for relevance to support our thought. This further integrated its logical framework with a theological dimension. Influence on other schools. The logical and epistemological tools developed by ancient Nyaya profoundly influenced almost all other schools of Indian philosophy, including Mimamsa, Vedanta, Buddhism, or Jainism. Debates between these schools often employed Nyaya's logical framework either to accept, refine, or refute its positions. So either we accept it or we refine it, means we shape it further, or we refute means we deny it. So here you can visually take a look at the Nyaya proof theory, how the steps fall into place and how we go into a conclusion. So we have Anumana. So Anumana has Pratigna, has Hetu, has Udharana, has Upanya, has Nigmana. Yeah. Then we have Vyapti. Vyapti has Vyapal Hetu, has Upadhi, means validity, has Vyapaka or Sadhya, and then we believe whether it is true and we accept it, or we say that is false and we reject it. So when we accept it, we do more of grouping. When we reject it, we look for a further solution for it, Hetu and Sadhya. Relevance to ethics, inquiry, and critical thinking. How is it logically fitting into the system? Nyaya epistemology, with its rigorous focus on logic and the means of valid knowledge, has significant and enduring relevance to both ethics, inquiry, and critical thinking. Relevance to ethics and inquiry. Ethics at its core means a belief system at its core involves discerning right from wrong, helps us to decide what is correct and what is incorrect, determining moral obligations and making reasoned judgments about human conduct. Nyaya epistemology provides a robust framework for this process, for the discernment of the right and wrong. Establishing moral truths through pramanas, through logical reasoning, through a belief system. Perception, pratyaksha. While direct perception might not give us universal moral laws, it's crucial for understanding the consequences of actions. We perceive suffering caused by deceit, the well being fostered by comparison, etc. This empirical basis informs ethical evaluations. For example, observing the pain caused by a lie can lead to the ethical conclusion that lying is generally harmful. We know and we have experienced that, haven't we? Inference or anumana. This is perhaps the most powerful Nyaya tool for ethical inquiry. Ethical principles often involve cause and effect, relationship, or general principles. We can infer that certain actions will lead to certain moral outcomes based on past experience and logic consistency. For instance, if honesty has consistently led to trust and beneficial relationship, observed Vyapti, then one can infer that honesty is a virtuous trait in a new situation. We all know that, we have experienced it, haven't we? Comparison, Upmana. Analogy is vital in ethical reasoning. We often consider what if everyone did that, or compare a novel ethical dilemma to a known one, a comparison with a benchmark. Upmana allows us to extend ethical understanding from familiar situations to new ones. If treating a stranger kindly is good, then by analogy, treating a new acquaintance kindly is also good, treating everyone equally and good. Now the verbal testimony or the Shabda. For Nyaya, Shabda from reliable source is crucial because it is from a relative source. In ethics, this translates to drawing upon moral teachings from respected traditions, wise individuals, scriptures, or authoritative texts. Example, Dharmashastras are books in the Indian context. These sources provide established ethical norms and principles that guide individual and societal conduct. The reliability of the source becomes a key critical factor. Combating moral fallacies and misconceptions. Just as Nyaya identifies logical fallacies, Hetva Bhasha, its framework helps expose flaws in ethical reasoning, fallacies. Identifying aprama, that is, invalid knowledge. Moral errors can arise from doubt, samasya, about ethical principles, outright error, viparya, in judging a situation or relying on mere memory, the smriti, without critical revaluation. Nyaya's system trains one to identify and rectify these cognitive biases in ethical judgments. Promoting rational deliberation, thinking rationally. Nyaya encourages rigorous examination of ethical dilemmas rather than relying on unexamined tradition or emotion alone. It pushes for reason, evidence, and logical consistency in moral arguments. Now, what is it with the connection of it to dharma and moksha? For Nyaya, valid knowledge, prama, is not merely intellectual. It's only not related to the mind. It's a prerequisite for right action and ethical living, that is dharma, which in turn leads to liberation, that is moksha. So it is all like a flowchart. Understanding the true nature of the self and the world, guided by valid knowledge, helps one choose actions that align with ethical principles and ultimately reduces suffering. How is it relevant to critical thinking? Nyaya epistemology, in many ways, is a foundational blueprint for critical thinking, just like a blueprint for architecture. Its core principles directly cultivate essential critical thinking skills, emphasis on evidence based reasoning. Nyaya Pramana instill a habit of demanding evidence. When we tell children something and they ask us for a reason, for a logic, whether it's direct observation, perception, logical education, inference, insightful comparison, analogy, or trustworthy authority, testimony. Testimony is when somebody is seen and is able to testify. Nyaya trains the mind to seek and evaluate the base of the claims that have been made. Logical rigor and argument analysis. The Panchvyaya, Nyaya, 5-step syllogism, is a powerful tool for structuring arguments and analyzing their validity. How true are they? How authentic are they? Fallacy detection. Nyaya extensively analyzed logical fallacies, hetvabhaksha, knowing these common errors in reasoning, example, fallacies of irrelevant reason, unproven reason, contradictory reason, equips individuals to identify weakness in their own arguments and those of others, thereby improving the quality of the discourse, improving the quality of the debate that we may have. Doubt resolution and inquiry. Nyaya recognizes doubt, that is samasya, as a valid initial state of inquiry, not a terminal one. It provides methods, tarka, critical examination, resource to pramanas, to resolve doubts and move towards certain knowledge. This fosters a healthy intellectual skepticism that demands proof rather than blind acceptance. Precision and clarity. The highly defined terms and structures within Nyaya promote precision in language and thought. This is crucial for clear communication and avoiding misunderstanding in any critical discussion. Discipline in debate or vada. Nyaya outlined rules for constructive debate, distinguishing between productive discussion, vada, contentious arguments aimed at victory, jalpa, and destructive criticism, vitanda. This provides a model for engaging in intellectual discourse in a way that aims at truth, not just winning. So, Nyaya epistemology offers more than just philosophical theories, it provides a practical methodology for disciplined inquiry, ethical discernments, and robust critical thinking that remains remarkably relevant in today's complex world. It teaches us not just what to think, but how to think rigorously and responsibly. Thank you. With that, we come to the end of lesson 2.3.